And it is not by accident. First of all, in June of 2014, you had a change of administration. And then, not to sound immodest, but I had the foresight of appointing one of my most senior, most experienced, and most competent ministers as the Minister of Health. And there was a reason for that appointment. I had recognized that in the second term of the UPB administration, that they had an absentee minister in Wilmer Daniel, someone who left the Ministry of Health without any leadership whatsoever. So recognizing that healthcare was fundamental, was literally one of the most significant sectors for my government, I knew that I had to appoint a minister who had the competence and the experience to transform this critical sector. And that is why I appointed Minister Joseph. Minister Joseph could have been the Minister of Finance. He could have been the Minister of Tourism. And I believe that he had other aspirations. But, as I said to him at the time, I needed a senior minister, someone with the competence to anchor this critical sector. And I'm very pleased to be here today to stand in support of my minister and all of the officials in the Ministry of Health, and to commend you for the great job that you've done within the last 3 years. It is very fitting that today, on World Blood Donor Day, that we are launching this Bloodmobile, this mobile blood unit, which is very significant in strengthening the health infrastructure in this country. And you'd recognize that we have been filling the gaps as we go along. So first of all, when we came to office, we recognized that the diagnostic equipment at Mount St. John, that they were derelict, they were not working, that individuals had to pay thousands of dollars to get some very basic diagnostic services done in the private sector. In many instances, the pricing was above and beyond the means of the ordinary citizen. There are many individuals who do not have access to basic diagnostic studies. So as a result, we invested $30 million in state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment so that individuals now have access to diagnostic treatment and care. Mount St. John evidently has transformed its services. You recall that when we had Halberton, they called it Kilberton. Then we moved to Mount St. John, and some of the bad practices, unfortunately, were transferred to Mount St. John. But I'm pleased to say today that Mount St. John is one of the most efficient, one of the best facilities, health facilities anywhere within the OECS sub-region and beyond. And I want to commend all of the staff, nurses and doctors, all of the support staff for their contributions in transforming Mount St. John into one of the best healthcare facilities in the region. You recall that a few months ago, we did a couple of kidney transplants, the first of any OECS country. And I understand that there are other patients who have been prepped for several more transplants later in the year. We have acquired additional expertise in different areas. Today, Mount St. John has more experts in different fields than at any other time in the history of the country. So we're not saying to you that health is a cornerstone ministry. We're not only saying that, we are also walking the talk. And we are investing a significant amount of resources in order to improve the healthcare delivery in this country, as we seek to have a healthy and wealthy nation. Healthy, of course, and wealthy. You know, some of us think that the word wealth is a bad word. But the reality is we want all Antiguans and Barbudans to be healthy and to be wealthy. We do not wish to see anyone living in poverty under our tenure. That is why we're going the extra mile to make sure that we not only provide you with a good healthcare infrastructure and first world healthcare, but at the same time to make sure that we increase job creation, to put all Antiguans and Barbudans to work. to make sure that you can enjoy living standards that are second to none. This is our commitment to you, the people. And as I've said time and time again, the Labour Party is the people, and the people are the Labour Party. There's some of you who may say, well, why is he talking about the Labour Party? This is a government function, but you have a Labour Party government in office. And it is the Labour Party government that is making a difference in the lives of the people of Antigua and Barbuda. So it is important for us to demonstrate that it is the institution called the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party that is presiding over these developments. Not to hide, as my dear minister says, the contributions of the Labour Party on the bushel. And then they say that we have not done anything when there is tangible evidence to show that my administration has improved every single sector in this country's economy. And I repeat, every single sector. Our Minister of Agriculture, he has outperformed his predecessor. There is greater agricultural production in this country today than under the former administration, notwithstanding the prolonged period of drought. In foreign affairs, Antigua and Barbuda today is better respected, better revered regionally and internationally compared to the previous 10 years under the former administration. Because we make sure that we provide proper representation to the people of Antigua and Barbuda. We also ensure too that we have good regional and international allies. And I can assure you that that network of international friends will continue to grow. And as we create more international friends, we're also leveraging resources for the development of the country. This donation of this unit is one such typical example. It was donated by the NHS in the UK. The value of this facility is about 600,000 EC dollars. Evidently, it would have been a challenge for us to raise the resources. But because of our network of friends, we've been able to get resources in various sectors of the economy, including healthcare. So this is actually a donation from the British government. And one of the things I asked the minister today is whether or not this vehicle was registered in his name. Anyway, he's assured me that it not only came consigned to the Ministry of Health, but is also registered in the Ministry of Health. So even though it's red and white, it doesn't signify anything about the Labour Party or Marlon Joseph. The red is about the color of blood. So I want to make that abundantly clear. And we take our stewardship very responsibly. We want to make sure that we account for the resources of the state, to make sure that your resources are not abused for personal gain or for partisan gain, to make sure that they are utilized exclusively for your use and your empowerment. As I said before, we are a people organization, and we will continue to do all in our power to make sure that we uplift all the people, notwithstanding their political affiliation, notwithstanding their economic standing, their social standing, to make sure that we preside over an all-inclusive, egalitarian country, one in which we uplift all the people, a society of inclusion. Those are the objectives of my government as we seek to turn Antigua and Barbuda, or to transform Antigua and Barbuda into an economic powerhouse within the sub-region. Now I'm told that this facility has a number of amenities, a number of beds, air conditioning, etc. But I'm also advised that you may not have a television, you may not have cable. So I want to suggest to the minister that you get the cable from one of the cable providers, and your humble servant will donate the television. So that when these individuals decide to donate this very beautiful gift of life, blood, they can do so in the comfort of air conditioning while watching television. I'm sure they will appreciate it, compared to the previous situation where they were under a tent, maybe in many instances not the best sanitary conditions. Not to say they were insanitary, but quite sure the tent could not have been the most sanitary of conditions to give blood. You know, having a first-class facility. And what is also good about this is that we're actually taking the facility to the people. So it will assist in mobilizing increased ownership. As the minister indicated, we have been collecting less than half the units that were required to deal with the demand for blood. And almost invariably, the drives that they've had at Mount St. John and previously at Halberton would have been done on a crisis basis. We now have a situation in which we could facilitate more volunteers donating blood and to ensure that we have an adequate supply of blood in the blood bank at all times. And I want to encourage all Antiguans and Barbudans to participate, to donate. The blood you donate may the blood to save your own life. So let us be as altruistic as possible to understand our common humanity, to understand that we live in a society in which we are all dependent on each other, an interdependent society in which we have to help each other. The Minister spoke briefly about the issue of the lower wages and salaries at the housing project. It is not exploitative. I mean, $80 a day for an unskilled worker cannot by any means be considered exploitative. It is not a premium, but we appreciated the fact that they have settled for $80 because they're contributing towards a reduction in the cost of housing. And just as housing and education, just as healthcare and education are important to my government, so is housing. In terms of the infrastructure of this country, there is nothing more important than good quality housing. Housing is even more important than the roads, the curbs, and drains, because ultimately good housing helps with healthcare. It helps with education. When you have young children living in good communities, they perform better. When they live in communities with dilapidated housing, they're more prone to contract communicable diseases. So our housing initiative is also linked to health. And we are pursuing your development in an integrated way, taking every single aspect of our development into consideration. Education, healthcare, housing, the environment. There's nothing that we have not taken into consideration as we make policies in the cabinet. Just to be reminded that I have to run off the cabinet, so I better sum up. But in essence, you know, I'd like to commend everyone who participated in this initiative. I'm told that Ambassador Karen Mayhill, she was instrumental in sourcing this facility. We commend you. We commend the CMO, the Minister, all of the officials of the Ministry of Health who made this a reality. And in essence, what they're doing here is that they are strengthening the health infrastructure. And as you know, it's not exclusive to the diagnostic equipment, to the Bloodmobile. Even in terms of eye care, I want to commend the Caribbean Council for the Blind, Mr. Abel Grant, for the role that they've played in restoring the sight of many Antiguans and Barbudans. They've also partnered with other governments, the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, China, and we've been able to provide surgery for hundreds of Antiguans and Barbudans. I believe we have done in excess of 1,000 operations in which we have restored their sight. So we're taking every single aspect of your healthcare into consideration. We'll be constructing more polyclinics. Presently, we have a team of Chinese on the island. They are doing the necessary preliminary work for the construction of 2 polyclinics, one in Villa, one in Willikeys, so that we'll make sure that we bring improved healthcare services to the people of Antigua and Barbuda, not only at the level of Mount St. John, but certainly we will ensure that even the primary healthcare services are actually improved and that they become more easily accessible, available at the community level. We recognize too that we continue to scan the various efficiencies. Even in terms of mammograms, the Minister has indicated to you that the next step is to acquire a machine, a mobile one, in which we could go to the communities and make the extra services, the mammograms, available to our females. We're taking healthcare very seriously. And we want you too to take your health seriously, to lead healthy lives, to manage what you eat. Very important. Even the nutritional aspect has been taken into consideration. Mount St. John has a number of dietitians. We have one of them here with us today. She's Samantha Moit. And we are ensuring that we pursue your overall health care in a holistic way. So once again, I thank all of you. I thank you for coming out as we celebrate World Blood Donor Day and as we celebrate the commissioning of this Bloodmobile unit. I thank you once again.
Thank you, you captured it so well. You stated excerpts of the Nassau Declaration that says the health of the nation is the wealth of the nation, and also went through a lot of persons